Right, wait a minute. Where's the volume at? That's more like it. Alright, well, time to feed these hungry, Steam Deck fans. I just walked in, I came in and trying to get my thoughts together. So I'm sitting there looking through the news and seeing what's happening, and then I seen this. Yeah, listen to this. I saw this news on IGN and now The Verge. So EA drops Apex Legend, huh? Right after Valve just did the just did the news about the anti-cheat. Listen to this. Apex Legend is taking away its support for the Steam Deck and Linux. Alright. Says here, Apex Legend is one of the only Battle Royale games that lets you play on a Steam Deck gaming handheld. Fortnite, Valorant, and PUBG are never supported it in the first place, citing concern about anti-cheat. But today, Electronic Arts and Respawn are taking the game away for that very reason. It says, in our efforts to combat cheating in Apex Legend, we've identified Linux OS as being a path for a variety of impactful exploit and cheats. As a result, we've decided to block Linux OS access to the game, writes EA in a blog post explaining this decision. Says here, Apex Legend did have anti-cheat software that did run on Steam Deck. Specifically, the game uses Epic Games' Easy Anti-Cheat EAC, which has been compatible with Linux gaming handheld for over 3 years now, but that wasn't good enough for Epic Games' own Fortnite. Tim Sweeney explained that the threat model was too large in 2022 and it's apparently no longer good enough for EA now. Linux cheats are indeed harder to detect, and the data shows that they are growing at a rate that requires an outside level of focus and attention from the team for a relatively small platform. There are also cases in which cheats for the Windows OS get emulated as if it's on Linux in order to increase the difficulty of detection and prevention, EA writes today. Then, let me keep going here. Yeah. It says here, Riot Games has similar concerns like many game developers. It also doesn't support Valorant and League of Legends on Linux due to increased possibility of cheating. In a recent interview with The Verge, Philip Koskinas, director of anti-cheat on Valorant, discussed why game developers are shying away from Linux. He said, you can freely manipulate the kernel and there's no user mode called to attest that it's even genuine, says Koskinas. You could make a Linux distribution that purpose-built for cheat and we'd be smoked. It says, Linux is so open that you can run an emulate version of Counter-Strike right now on a Steam Deck and still have a cheat on the device. Imagine if Steam Deck just had the security handheld so we know it's a genuine device. It's fully attested all these features are enabled. We did be like, cool, good game, no problem, say Koskinas. It says, as usual, it's not clear if this is mostly a Linux problem or mostly a problem of need to spend more money on creative solutions than the small number of players might be worth. Last December, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney told us he could possibly justify putting Fortnite on the Steam Deck if it had tens of millions of users there. Come on, stop it. He said, and EA writes today that it weighs its Apex decision based on the small population of Linux players versus how their impact infect a fair amount of games. EA say you still be able to play Apex Legend on a Steam Deck if you install Windows. Valve still hasn't released its own dual boot installer to make putting Windows on the Steam Deck easier. The feature has been high on the list for some time, but it has recently plugged some of the big holes in its Windows driver. And that is that. What I get from all this, this has nothing to do, to me playing video games for years. This has nothing to do with cheating anywhere, because you got cheaters on Macs, cheaters on Linux, and cheaters on Windows. This is just a Windows versus Linux, and who has the bigger user base. That's what it comes down to. It kind of reminds me of like when the PlayStation 1 was out, with and Nintendo had the 64, but yet and there was a cartridge versus CD issue, and the developers were putting more games on PlayStation than they did Nintendo, claiming that that CDs are better, which it is. But anyway, this is nothing new under the sun. The Steam Deck can run Windows, so what you're gonna have to do is just install Windows on the Steam Deck to play Apex Legend, or to play Fortnite, to play whatever game you want to play. So this is just a Windows versus Linux issue, and in other words, basically they're trying to come up with all kind of excuses, but you got hackers on Windows, hackers on Macs, and hackers on Linux, and cheaters on Linux, Windows, and Macs. So on Apple. So this is just a This is a Linux versus Windows issue. That's all this comes down to. No big deal. and let's take it from there. So EA doing this wasn't a surprise to me, because they were changing their anti-cheat software. That's why a lot of the games like Battlefield and who else, Madden, games like that, they were having issues running on Linux. So this is nothing new. This is just EA being EA right now. This is just a Windows versus Linux user base. That's all this comes down to. Bottom line, no big deal. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole thing. When it comes to this whole Linux versus Windows, it reminds me of the PlayStation 1 versus Nintendo 64, when developers were putting more games on the PlayStation 1, but they were saying that the 64 user base was too small, and they were trying to come up with all kind of excuses why the Nintendo 64 wasn't getting games. So yeah. It just a little flashback. But anyway, other than that, man, the game industry moves on. This is not a big surprise, because EA already started it already. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy, though. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek. Thank for Dark Side. Go. Peace.